Hi, I'm Elena Kapla. I'm an environmental studies major with an urban forestry minor, so I have a huge interest in the role that trees play in the ecosystem. I'm graduating this May and moving to Minnesota to be a plant healthcare specialist, so I thought that this project was a good way for me to connect my career path to climate change. So what I'm going to be looking at is how climate change has dramatically impacted plant hardiness zones and the effects that has had on trees and their pests. So first, I have, can I move me out of the way? I have this little video, I guess, from the Arbor Day Foundation that shows how plant hardiness zones have changed from 1990 to 2006. So if you look here, this is 1990, and here's Nebraska, and we have plant hardiness zone 4 and 5. So the lower the number, the colder the hardiness zone is, so 4 is colder than 5, right? So if I play this, now it's 2006, and you can see Nebraska is completely in zone 5. Now, trees are really resilient, so I feel like this has less of an actual impact on the trees that are growing, because there are many trees that are going to grow in plant hardiness zones 4 and 5. So this has had less of an impact on the actual trees that are still growing in Nebraska, but where it's really concerning is the pests. So a lot of pests, their range is restricted due to cold winter temperatures, so the larvae die in the winter because it gets too cold for them. But as temperatures increase and winters aren't getting down to that cold temperature, the larvae are surviving in more northern states than they usually would. A good example of this is mountain pine beetle. I'll explain it before I show the picture, but basically in the Rocky Mountains, many of the pine trees have died due to mountain pine beetle because their range has expanded because of climate change. And the droughts that they've experienced have made the trees weaker and a good target. So here's a picture of pines in the Rocky Mountains. You can see how many of them are dead due to the mountain pine beetle. Let me switch to full face. I don't have more pictures, but this also impacts not just tree pests, but just pests in general. Ticks, mosquitoes, fire ants are moving north. That's kind of scary. But I know in our one of the lectures we watched last week, it talked about mosquitoes and how they're being impacted by climate change, and the flooding and the increase in moisture and heat creates the perfect scenario for mosquitoes. So we've got an increase in mosquitoes too throughout the states. So it's pretty scary what's happening there. And I don't think there's a simple solution to this. I think we really do have to get down to the root of climate change and start mitigating what's happening. I don't think that we can completely go back to the hardiness zones that we were before, but we can stop the movement so these problems don't increase and continue.